The line stretched around the block, just like it had every day for the past 3 weeks. From my food truck window, I could see the empty tables at Golden Palace across the street, the restaurant that should have been mine. My cousin Kevin stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching my customers with barely concealed rage. I gave him a little wave and turned back to my walk, where Grandma Liu's secret General Tso's chicken sizzled to perfection. I'm Mei Chen, and this is how I turned my family's betrayal into the sweetest revenge, served piping hot with a side of special sauce. 6 months ago, I thought I knew my future. I'd be taking over Golden Palace, the restaurant my grandparents had built from nothing into one of San Francisco's most beloved Chinese restaurants. I'd practically grown up in that kitchen, learning every recipe, every technique, every secret that made our food special. Watch carefully, little bird, Grandma would say, adding precise amounts of ingredients she never wrote down. The recipes are in your heart, not on paper. This is your inheritance. But I wasn't the only one who wanted that inheritance. The restaurant needs a man's leadership, my uncle declared at the family meeting after Grandma passed. Kevin has an MBA. He knows business. I stood there stunned as they handed over my grandparents' legacy to my cousin, a guy who never cooked anything more complicated than instant ramen. Don't worry, May, Kevin smirked. You can keep your job as line cook. Someone needs to do the actual work while I handle the important stuff. I quit that night. My mother begged me to reconsider. Be reasonable, May. At least you'll still be part of the restaurant. Part of it? I laughed bitterly. I was supposed to own it. Grandma trained me for 10 years. Kevin doesn't even know the difference between Sichuan and Cantonese cuisine. He has an MBA, she repeated, as if those 3 letters could make up for decades of experience, and he's the oldest son. Son. That was what it always came down to. Never mind that I dedicated my life to the restaurant. Never mind that Grandma had chosen me. Never mind that I was the only one who knew. I stopped that thought. They'd forgotten one crucial detail in their rush to hand everything to Kevin. One detail that would change everything. The recipes. The real ones. See, Golden Palace's success wasn't just about good Chinese food. It was about Grandma Liu's secret recipes, recipes she'd spent 50 years perfecting. Recipes that had people driving from hours away just to taste them. Recipes that only existed in 2 places, my memory and a small red notebook hidden in Grandma's apartment. The day after they gave the restaurant to Kevin, I visited Grandma's place one last time, behind the loose brick in her kitchen wall. Exactly where she told me it would be, I found her notebook. The first few pages contained basic recipes, anyone could read those. But the real secrets were written in our family's dialect in Grandma's cryptic shorthand. To anyone else, they were gibberish, but I'd spent years learning to decode them. My hands shook as I read through the pages. Every secret technique, every special ingredient ratio, every little twist that made our food legendary, it was all here. And more importantly, it was all mine. Kevin might have the restaurant, but he didn't have this. That night, I started planning. I took out a loan, bought a food truck, and spent 2 weeks retrofitting it into a mobile kitchen. I decorated it with red and gold dragons, just like the ones that had adorned Golden Palace's walls when my grandparents first opened. My cousin laughed when he saw it parked across from the restaurant. A food truck? Really, May? How desperate can you get? I just smiled and started prepping my ingredients. The first day, I made Grandma's famous General Tso's chicken. The real version, not the simplified one they served at the restaurant. The smell wafted across the street, drawing curious customers. By noon, I had a small line. By dinner, the line wrapped around the block. This tastes just like Golden Palace's food used to. One regular customer exclaimed. Before it changed, I mean. Because that was the other thing. Kevin had been modernizing the menu, cutting corners, using cheaper ingredients, simplifying recipes he didn't understand. I watched through my food truck window as Golden Palace's longtime customers discovered that their favorite dishes didn't taste quite right anymore. Watched as they tried my food and realized this was what they remembered, the authentic flavors they'd loved for years. How are you doing this? Kevin demanded after the first week, when his lunch crowd had dwindled to almost nothing. Those are our recipes. I stirred my wok calmly. No, Kevin. They're my recipes. Grandma gave them to me. The ones you're using, those are just the basics. His face reddened. You're lying. All the recipes are in the restaurant's files. I laughed. You really think Grandma wrote down her real secrets where anyone could find them? The special ingredients? The exact timing? The techniques she spent 50 years perfecting. He stormed back to the restaurant. That night, I got calls from various family members, demanding I share the recipes, accusing me of betraying the family. I let them go to voicemail. The next morning, I opened my truck's window to find an even longer line waiting. Word was spreading. The real Golden Palace taste could now be found at a food truck called Little Bird's Kitchen. Kevin stood in his doorway, watching my success with growing desperation. He tried copying my dishes, changing his menu to match mine, even sending his cooks to order everything on my menu so they could analyze it. But he was missing the most important ingredient, the knowledge that could only come from years of standing beside Grandma, learning every subtle detail that made her food special. My phone buzzed. Another voicemail from my uncle. May, be reasonable. The family needs those recipes. The restaurant is suffering. I turned back to my wok, adding the secret blend of spices that made our kung pao chicken unforgettable. The line outside my window grew longer. This was just the beginning. After a month, my food truck's success was impossible to ignore. I'd had to hire 3 assistants just to keep up with demand. Every day, the line got longer, while Golden Palace's dining room got emptier. Kevin tried everything. He slashed prices. He hired new chefs. He even put up a sign claiming he had the original recipes. But his customers knew better. One taste was all it took to recognize that something crucial was missing. Then came the food critics' review. Little Bird's Kitchen serves what might be the most authentic Chinese cuisine in San Francisco. Each dish carries the depth and complexity that made Golden Palace legendary in its heyday. Meanwhile, the once beloved restaurant across the street has become a pale imitation of its former glory. The article went viral. My line now stretched for 3 blocks. That's when Kevin finally snapped. I was preparing for the lunch rush when he stormed up to my truck, waving the newspaper. You're destroying the family business. No, Kevin. You did that when you thought an MBA was more important than actual cooking experience. This isn't fair. Those recipes belong to Golden Palace. I turned down the heat under my wok. Those recipes belong to me. Grandma gave them to me. You got the restaurant. Congratulations. But the heart and soul of Golden Palace? That was never yours to take. I'll sue you. He threatened. You'll what? I cut him off. Sue me for recipes that were never written down in any official document, for knowledge passed down through oral tradition. Good luck with that. A crowd was gathering, watching the drama unfold. I recognized many of them as former Golden Palace regulars. The family will never forgive you for this, he hissed. The family? I laughed. The same family that dismissed 10 years of training because I wasn't the oldest son. The family that handed over my inheritance to someone who'd never even worked in the kitchen. Just then, my uncle appeared, looking significantly less proud than he had during that family meeting. May, he said, trying to sound authoritative despite his obvious desperation. We need to talk. The restaurant, it's in trouble. I kept cooking, the familiar motions of preparing Grandma's hot and sour soup keeping me calm. I'm busy. Lunch rush is starting. Please, his voice cracked slightly. Golden Palace will go bankrupt if this continues. Is that what you want? To destroy your grandparents' legacy. I slammed my spatula down. Their legacy? Their legacy was perfect food made with love and dedication. Their legacy was 50 years of recipes perfected through hard work and passion. Their legacy, I gestured at my food truck, is right here. We made a mistake, my uncle admitted quietly. We should have respected your grandmother's wishes. Yes, I agreed. You should have. Kevin stepped forward. Then help us fix it. Give us the recipes back. I looked at them both, my proud uncle finally humbled, my arrogant cousin desperate for what he'd never bothered to learn. The recipes were never just about ingredients and instructions, I said. They were about dedication, about spending years learning every subtle detail, every tiny adjustment, about understanding why each step matters. I stirred the soup, inhaling the perfect balance of flavors that had taken Grandma decades to perfect. You wanted quick success without doing the work. You thought running the restaurant was just about business plans and profit margins, but Grandma knew better. That's why she spent 10 years teaching me, and that's why she left me her real legacy. What do you want? My uncle asked. Name your price. I smiled. I don't want money. I want what was promised to me, what I earned. The restaurant? Kevin protested. But not just the restaurant, I corrected. Complete control. No family interference. No MBA-inspired modernization. Golden Palace goes back to what it was meant to be, a place where food is an art, not just a business. My uncle looked at the line of customers stretching around the block, then at the empty tables visible through Golden Palace's windows. Done, he said. Kevin started to protest, but one look at the restaurant's books silenced him. They were hemorrhaging money, and everyone knew it. 2 months later, I stood in Golden Palace's kitchen, my kitchen now. The dragons on the walls had been restored to their original glory. The dining room was full again, the air rich with the authentic aromas of Grandma's cuisine. I kept my food truck too, run by the staff I'd trained. Some customers still preferred the casual atmosphere, and I saw no reason to fix what wasn't broken. Kevin? He took a job with a corporate restaurant chain, where his MBA could be put to better use. My uncle stopped talking about proper succession and male leadership. And me? I stood at my wok, adding the secret ingredients that made our kung pao chicken special, just like Grandma had taught me. On the wall hung a new photo, Grandma in her kitchen, young and proud, next to one of me at my food truck. A server poked his head in. "Chef, there's a food critic here. Says she wants to know the secret to your recipes." I smiled, thinking of the little red notebook safely stored away. Tell her the same thing my grandmother always said. The secret ingredient is patience, and the willingness to earn what you want instead of just taking it. Later that night, as I closed up the restaurant, I looked across the street at my food truck, still serving customers under the glow of its red and gold lights. 2 restaurants, 2 successes, both built on the foundation of Grandma's real legacy. Not just recipes, but the understanding that true mastery can't be stolen or given. It has to be earned. My phone buzzed. A text from Kevin. "Happy now? You got everything you wanted." I looked around at my kitchen, at the dining room full of happy customers, at the dishes being prepared exactly as they should be. "No, Kevin," I typed back. "I got everything I earned." Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's proving that success comes from dedication, not entitlement. And sometimes the sweetest victory is served one perfect dish at a time. As I locked up for the night, I could almost hear Grandma's voice. "Well done, little bird. Well done."